If an athlete is struggling to increase their stride frequency, meaning they're unable to move their legs quickly while running, it can be a critical indicator that there are some gaps in their running efficiency. This analysis focuses on the core factors that can help an athlete improve their stride frequency. First, it's important to understand what stride frequency or stride rate actually means. Here, stride refers to a single step. Whenever an athlete is sprinting, each step is considered a stride. On the other hand, frequency refers to how many times something occurs within a set time frame. For example, just like something is priced at 1 per kilogram, meaning the rate is 1 rupee for every kilo, similarly, if an athlete is taking 4 steps per second, it means they are lifting their legs 4 times in 1 second. If someone's stride frequency is 4.5 steps per second, and it means they complete 4 full steps in a second and have already initiated the 5th, but can't complete it since the second ends there. There is a direct relationship between stride frequency and 1-step time. If an athlete is taking 4 steps in 1 second, each step takes about 250 milliseconds, or 0.25 seconds. But if the same athlete reduces the time per step to 200 milliseconds, they can complete 5 steps in 1 second, and this change increases their stride frequency. Now the question is, how can one reduce the time for a single step? When an athlete runs, their movement has 2 phases. Stance phase, when the foot is in contact with the ground; air phase, when no part of the body is in contact with the ground. If an athlete is taking a total of 250 milliseconds per step, and out of that 100 milliseconds are spent on the ground and 150 milliseconds in the air, then ground contact time, i.e. stance phase duration, makes up a significant portion of the total time. Reducing ground contact time is the most impactful way to increase stride frequency. For this, plyometric exercises are used. For example, pogo jumps are a great basic exercise that builds explosiveness and reduces contact time. But if an athlete already has a strong base, they can also try advanced variations like hurdle jumps. One important thing to note here, proper execution of plyometric exercises is crucial. If the ground contact becomes too long while doing hurdle jumps, like jumping with pauses, the benefits are lost. So these jumps should be done in a way that ground contact is minimal and the body reacts like a spring. Whenever a sprinter's foot leaves the ground and enters the air phase, there's very little the athlete can do at that moment to return to the ground faster. A common misconception here is that one should exert more force to stay less in the air, but in reality, doing so negatively impacts speed. The duration of the air phase is already determined by the ground force and takeoff angle generated at the moment the foot pushed off. Even so, for better performance, it's essential that the legs recover, meaning the motion of bringing them forward, as quickly as possible. Especially, the faster the lead leg returns to the ground, the less time the body has to remain in the air. However, if this forward placement happens ahead of the body's hips, it directly increases the ground contact time. And this is why gaining control over the recovery phase becomes a crucial step toward improving stride frequency. Now the question is, how can the legs be switched faster? There are some specific exercises that help enhance muscle memory and speed. One technique is switching drills from a lunge position. If an athlete is at a beginner level, starting with the single switch drill is ideal, where the leg position is switched just once at a time. But if there's already some training background, then adopting the double switch is more beneficial. In this version, the athlete switches both legs twice in a very short period of time. These exercises train the legs for swift movement and naturally improve running time. Now let's talk about the hip flexors and hamstrings. Practicing movement alone isn't enough for fast switching. It's also important to focus on strengthening certain muscles, especially the hip flexors and hamstrings. Hip flexors. These muscles are responsible for bringing the leg forward. Hamstrings. These muscles are responsible for driving the leg backward. To strengthen both of these, strategically selected exercises are required. Hamstring exercises. Nordic hamstring curls. A high-intensity exercise that requires full body control. If it's too difficult, an easier alternative is razor curls. Gym-based leg curl machine. An effective option for isolating and strengthening the hamstrings. Single leg hip thrust with box variation. When done on a box, it increases both muscle control and intensity. Hip flexor strengthening exercises. In one exercise, the athlete places a plate on top of the legs and holds a fixed position for 30 seconds. This develops static strength. Along with this, the more slowly controlled leg raise exercises are done, the better the results. The need for speed transfer. You may build strength, but it only impacts your sprinting when that strength is transferred into speed. For this, some high-speed drills are included. Single leg escapes, a speed-focused drill that prepares the hip flexors for rapid firing. This movement sharpens neural conditioning and improves running efficiency. When an athlete trains for speed development, improving ground contact is also extremely important. There are certain specific drills that help enhance leg speed and quickness. masterclass. One such drill is the single leg high knee. In this, the athlete has to lift the leg upward as quickly as possible. This not only activates the leg muscles, but also helps increase running speed. A slightly more advanced drill is the switching drill, where one leg is held up while lightly skipping forward. Once the athlete is ready, the raised leg is brought down and the lower leg is lifted. The faster this movement is performed, the better. If an athlete consistently performs exercises for 2 to 3 months, speed and turnover quality naturally begin to develop. After this, the next step is to begin wicket training sessions. In wicket running, wickets are initially placed about 1 meter apart. The focus here is on technique, especially on leg turnover speed. Usually 10 to 15 cones or wickets are set at 1 meter intervals and the athlete's timing is tracked. Over time, the goal is to reduce this time. This process helps determine stride frequency, i.e. how many times per second the feet strike and leave the ground. If the frequency is above 42, it is considered a good stride frequency. Until the stride frequency approaches 42, the distance between the wickets should not be increased. One key factor here is the speed of arm action. The speed of the hands directly affects the speed of the legs. Faster arm movements lead to faster leg movements. That's why improving arm action is also an essential part of increasing running speed.